What is up, everyone? I'm a little echoey, as you can probably hear me. I'm on my laptop here on the road, still in Atlanta, so I'm a little blown out, as you can see the image if you're watching on YouTube. But hopefully you guys can hear me out there. Let's see here. Testing, 1, 2. If anyone is out there listening right now, let me know if you can hear me and you can see me. Otherwise, I'm going to get into my spiel here. Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 82, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. And if you're watching, you are on my YouTube channel, Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. Please be sure to subscribe. The bottom right is where you can click subscribe. I appreciate that. Like the video, share the videos. On Instagram, as I mentioned, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. I'm just going to get right into it. I wanted to do a quick recap of my experience here in Atlanta, going to the shows the last two nights here, Friday and Saturday night here, the 15th and 16th of July. Seeing the band, it was an amazing shows, plural. It was amazing shows, plural. Before I came to, going a little bit further back, a few days, the plan for this trip was to meet my father, who's been on this podcast before. David, who's basically a Fillmore East historian, as a fan going to those shows in the late 60s and early 70s during that venue's brief run. But he flew in from New York and I flew in from Los Angeles, and we met here in Georgia. And we arrived on Wednesday, and yesterday, Thursday, or not yesterday, Thursday, but a few days ago on Thursday, we drove down to Macon, Georgia. And we hit the Big House Museum and went to H&H and Capricorn Studios, and everyone at all of those places was so nice. I'm looking forward to getting John Linsky from the Big House Museum on this podcast fairly soon in the near future. That is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm not going to dive too deep into every detail that I experienced at the museum. And even this weekend, I'm going to probably do something more formal to sort of recap this trip potentially. What's up, David Flam? It's been fun hanging out with you this weekend. Of course, a big TTB fan out there. I did pull up the set list, I believe, from this past weekend, a couple of set lists. Let me pull that up. So I have all those songs, but I don't even really know where to begin. I almost want to talk a little bit more about the museum experience, because that was just so amazing to be in the house where Blue Sky was written, and no one seeing the exact places where that all went down from Dickey's pen. Really looking out at where he was inspired by church bells ringing Sunday morning, and having the John Linsky and others at the museum point out, all these inspirational landmarks and places for the Allman Brothers. But to be in Dwayne's bedroom and every room in that house was just truly amazing. And it probably still hasn't even really hit me yet. But I don't think I'm going to dive too deep into the museum stuff. But I really did love Macon, and the food at H&H was excellent, and getting a tour from Bob over at Capricorn Studios was also very cool, to get into the main studio there and see the whole soundboard. It was the biggest sound mixer probably I've ever seen. But it was super, super, super fun for sure. Just everything at that museum is like worth stopping to examine, worth stopping to look closely at, worth taking a photo of, and worth posting on social media, to be honest with you, from like every little detail. And John over at the museum is just so knowledgeable about everything. Like, he will tell you, like, looking at the Fillmore East cover photos, here's the crate that JMO had his foot on during the photo shoot. And of course, most of us out there, many of us know the story of the Fillmore East cover, whereas the band was up early and not in a good mood to shoot photos. And I forget his first name, but Marshall, the photographer, he was not the most agreeable person to deal with, and the band did not want to deal with him. They would not smile, and they did not smile until Dwayne met his dealer and was hiding that was it the bag of cocaine in his hand, and the band got a good laugh out of that. And of course, that's when the photo with the smiling, joking around Allman Brothers band was shot. But I'll mention a few other highlights from the museum, if anything else jumps to mind. Seeing Dwayne's Layla guitar, and even just seeing Dwayne's like bowling shoes in the closet, and so much of the house, especially the upstairs, the big house. You guys have to go if you haven't been. Is relatively untouched. So downstairs is kind of more of the museum, where you're going to see a lot and a ton of musical artifacts, from guitars to ticket stubs to record contracts to God knows what in there. Everything and anything you might imagine. Posters, concert posters everywhere. But upstairs, again, is like where you see like the bedrooms and the showers and the bathrooms and some of the original rugs and carpets and furniture and even the vinyl record players. I'm assuming were the original music players that they had in the house from back in the day. And the grounds were cool. They got a little mini stage out front, lots of novelty signs as you might imagine around, and the gift shop was super cool. It again, I don't think it's really hit me yet that I was there. And again, I highly recommend it. And it's funny to think about it. And when I speak to John and maybe others from the museum, they'll get into this more. But people travel from all over the world to come to Macon and to come to the Big House Museum. He was telling me they get a fair amount of fans, actually from Japan. Of course, Allman Brothers and even Tedeschi Trucks Band has a decent following in Japan these days. So he got guys from Japan flying into Macon. That is quite a journey. And they step foot into this house, and they're basically like in tears, having this like intense emotional experience. I apologize if the audio is a little echoey, if you hear music or any background noise. I'm in the conference room at the hotel across from the Fox Theater here, and I'm not using my my regular mic, so I'm probably super echoey on a 10-year-old computer using the computer camera and the computer microphone. I closed the shade, so although it may be a little bit or definitely blown out behind me, at least it looks like I'm in decent focus. But I don't even know where to begin. I mean, might as far as the TTB shows, but I wanted to first off, of course, thank Tedeschi Trucks Band for coming here and for doing these shows and being so gracious with the fans, from all of TTB to Gabe Dixon and his band and Los Lobos. They just all combined to make a great fan experience with great music from start to finish this weekend. And I wanted to thank David Flam, who I think is still here hanging out live, for him being in many ways what Ed Gendelman was for me at the Beacon shows, being my seeing eye dog and my guide for this experience in many ways. If Ed is the mayor of the Beacon in a sense, then I would suppose that David Flam is the mayor here of the fans here in Atlanta. And Keith Sharp, another fan out there, was super cool to me and helped me get some upgrades and whatnot this week. And so I appreciate David. I appreciate Mr. Sharp and a bunch of other fans coming up to me and saying they enjoy the podcast and just chatting music. It was a super cool experience, and I was lucky to spend some time. And I'm jumping around a little bit, but to spend some time with some of the band members, and got a chance thanks to Falcon, who's been super cool to me as well. Getting me the chance to spend some time with Derek and Susan, and say hello to them, and chat with them. And my dad was there for that as well. So for us to meet with the band even for a brief few minutes was great, and hanging out with Falcon a little bit and talking to him, and Elizabeth, and seeing Bobby T's pass by before the shows. Got a chance to say hello to him, and it's just been amazing experience. Everyone is just super duper nice. I guess before I get into maybe some of the songs and some of the from the set lists from the weekend, I just wanted to mention that, like, you guys should definitely see Gabe Dixon with his band. Like, if you haven't seen him do his solo thing with his band as part of this Wheels of Soul, or gotten a chance to listen to or see Gabe live, that dude is just super duper talented at all aspects of music, whether it's playing the keyboards and organs and guitar a little bit. And I guess it's a melodica, I believe is what it's called, that he plays there. But his band is awesome, and they had great songs, and it's a trio, of course. So it's like, a lot of responsibility on 3 people to make a full sound, and all 3 of them, do vocal work for Gabe's music. But super funky, super fun, super soulful. I really enjoyed, and eclectic too. Like, he covers many genres within his music. I really enjoyed seeing Gabe, and as Los Lobos, as I enjoyed Los Lobos as well. Jumping around again, last night Derek and Susan did come out and play a couple of tunes, perform a couple of tunes with Los Lobos. Susan sang a little bit on the Marvin Gaye cover, "What's Going On," which is funny because my dad and I had stepped outside for a minute, just kind of hanging out in the lobby area by the merch tables, whatever. And then we hear Los Lobos playing "What's Going On." And I recognized this song, and then I turned to my dad, and I'm like, "Oh, they're playing What's Going On." And my dad goes, "Susan would sing this song really well, He just just had that thought pop into his head. And then, like, a second later, I hear a female voice from just outside the curtains. I'm like, "Susan singing, Susan singing." So of course we run back and we run inside and caught Susan. And then of course Derek came out and ripped through various solos and parts on Los Lobos songs, and that was just always special to see. And the final song, I forget the name of it, but the final song that Los Lobos did of their set, Derek finished with them. So in many ways, I feel like when we were giving the fans Los Lobos a standing ovation, which they got, of course, when they finished Friday night's set without Derek or Susan being guests. They got that standing ovation Saturday night. I felt like a lot of the crowd, we were cheering, because Derek, made a major contribution to what Los Lobos was doing with their music. But they were a rocking band and a rollicking band, and you just get more and more into them as their set progresses, and it was super cool to see and super fun to listen to, and I enjoy some of the Spanish style influence, and obviously being a Mexican American band, I believe, from East LA, I enjoyed hearing the hand drums and some of the more Spanish style music that makes its way into Los Lobos' set and what they do out there. And Friday night show, Los Lobos members came and played with TTB on World's a Ghetto and Keep On Growing. But just getting into some of the set lists from the weekend, the band opened up with the first album, Crescent, first part of I Am the Moon, Crescent. They played Here My Dear, Fall In, I Am the Moon, Circles, and Passaquan straight in order the first night. And that was just, my first time hearing these songs live and seeing them perform live for me personally. I mean, what else is there for me to say in terms of like describing the band and describing the music and describing set lists, song from song, song to song, just unconditionally loving everything the band does. It's not going to make for great or interesting analysis. There's a lot of more people out there, and I keep repeating this. A lot of journalists and others who speak about music who can articulate what makes Tedeschi Trucks Band so amazing with a slew of adjectives that they might use. But it was just, again, special for me to hear these songs for the first time live. And I'm pretty in love with all of them, and I think the band is especially in love with. They actually played all the songs from Crescent last night as well, other than Circles Around the Sun. So they enjoy playing the new material as well, but especially on Fall In with Mike singing on lead and them extending that one with Derek solo and whatnot. I'm sure it's a minute or two or three or even longer than what's on the studio album. But they've definitely been extending Fall In, and it's just very funky, bluesy what Derek does on that slide at the end of Fall In. A lot of these are going to overlap, and thoughts are going to be overlapping from one show to the next. I did not take notes during these shows with very specific thoughts as each song was played. So I'm just going to kind of give you kind of an immediate reaction or a recent reaction to what I saw and heard this weekend, and I'll just kind of jump around and again, I'm just going to do a short, quick, fairly quick. I'm not going to go for an hour here. Maybe I'll go for another 10, 15 minutes, depending on how much I have to say about these couple of shows at the moment. But seeing Passaquan perform for the first time, you can see that the band and the band members who perform Passaquan really enjoy performing that, and the audience gets super excited as soon as they recognize that Passaquan is going to be played. And I'll just keep saying it over and over again, like, this is Tedeschi Trucks Bands, or in a sense, they're Elizabeth Reed, they're Les Brers, they're Mountain Jam in a sense. So like, and this is right up there with any of those songs. And I was lucky to actually get a chance to talk to Gabe after Friday night's show about a bunch of things. But I mentioned Passaquan, and I told him that, like, we don't have to wait, 5 years, 10 years to describe this track, what this band has put together with this song as an epic, legendary, iconic song. I don't have to wait like 30 years to be like, oh, Passaquan is a legendary song. I'm like, nah, it's already has that status, in my opinion. And what I mentioned on previous podcasts, I forget who I mentioned it to. I think it was with either Joe or Jared Delaney, Joe Toriello or Jared Delaney, that these songs feel like we've kind of known them for years already and been listening to them for years. Just, I don't know whether it's because they have a timeless quality, or just because I've listened to these first two parts of I Am the Moon so much already, but they feel like songs I've known for years and been listening to for years, and without getting sick of them. But that's kind of par for the course, or going to be assumed anyway on my end, as far as listening to Tedeschi Trucks Band music and not getting sick of it ever. And talking a little bit with Falcon after Friday night's show, he was drenched in sweat from the concert immediately afterwards, and giving a lot of that credit, or explaining the reason why I was deducing the reason why he was sweating so much, because he was mentioning that Passaquan is quite a physical feat to accomplish, in terms of like physical ability being required to play that long, that fast, that intensely, on that song. So him and Isaac get quite the workout on stage, especially with Passaquan, because they're playing fast solos and duets and whatnot. So there's a lot happening there. But I love how they've what they've done with Passaquan and bring that out to the road, extending it, and I think it's just slowly getting longer and longer, but not really noticeably, because as I mentioned, all these Tedeschi Trucks Band and Allman Brothers instrumental songs, they're jams, of course, and they can be described as such, but they follow such a journey and such a narrative to them that it doesn't matter. They're not playing 16, 18, 20-minute jams for the sake of it, just to even trade solo parts. You are being taken on a narrative journey with, different sections within that narrative journey, from Derek playing the main riff to drum solos to duets, or rather I think Brandon had some prominent bass parts on Passaquan as well, and of course Gabe has I would even call it a signature part on Passaquan itself. So I just talked about Passaquan the entire time on this recap because it's worthy, and they actually played it two nights in a row, back-to-back nights. That really, to me, because I don't know if they played Passaquan back-to-back nights in the same city yet. I could be mistaken, but that just goes to show how much they love that song, because it's an epic undertaking, I'm sure, to perform live on some level. So to want to play that back-to-back nights in the same city it says a lot. It also makes me think that they know that the fans want to see that song performed and hear it, because I don't really recall Tedeschi Trucks Band playing like Elizabeth Reed back-to-back nights in the same city or anything like that. But Passaquan's obviously new, so they want to perform it live for people as much as they can, and share the new music with everyone. I should also mention that on this trip that me and my father did not get the chance to go to Passaquan, but pretty much anytime it came up in conversation this weekend, people were very much encouraging us to go visit there. So that might have to be another trip. Maybe this will be an annual trip too, to come down to Atlanta and maybe even to Macon, and be here long enough and make it work to get to Passaquan too. But multiple people also offered to drive us there, even today. But I do have a flight to catch in a couple of hours, so the Passaquan trip will have to be scheduled at a future date. But just kind of diving back into the set list here. Again, I mentioned World is a Ghetto and Keep on Growing were performed on Friday's show, and we're with several Los Lobos members joining for that. And just jumping around a little bit, it was interesting to see, and others could probably comment on this or give me the facts about this, but I don't really recall within the same show hearing Keep on Growing and Any Day, those two particular Derek and the Dominoes covers within the same set in the same show. I think that's quite a rarity. Usually it's one or the other than obviously if they're playing, the show with Trey, they played the whole album, but usually it's one or the other of those two songs. But I could be mistaken. But in between Keep on Growing, or after Keep on Growing, we got a So Long Savior, which was fun to see live, and they've been working in that one into the sets. As far as a song from Ascension that's kind of made its way, it's almost every show recently, a bunch of shows recently, we've been getting that, at least as they go from city to city. We got a Do I Look Worried after that, which I always call not a quintessential Tedeschi Trucks Band song, but what's the word I use to describe that? Classic Tedeschi Trucks Band song. Iconic. They're all iconic. They're all classic. They're all quintessential in many ways. But and then was Any Day, and then Life is Crazy, which Mike just tears down the house. If I'm using that phrase correctly, when he does Life is Crazy, it's stellar always to hear that. Just a very bluesy song that really gets everyone going. We got a Bound for Glory after that. Like what they're doing. Got some real cool bouncy drums going for that. I like the way they're doing that song now in the Isaac era. I think we had some great stuff from Alicia and Mark. Every time Alicia and Mark had a solo or prominent part. Again, this is sort of overlapping. The weekend's all a blur, but just stunning every time Mark and Alicia get on the mic, and Alicia is just so powerful. To hear her voice fill the venue is quite something to take in. I will say that. But on that day, of course, Susan tears down the house herself, in very much the same manner with her guitar and her vocals. Really, in a sense, being a call and response to each other, but people love that. I mean, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if people describe Susan doing that did it, or I pity the fool. Often people do describe those moments as their favorite moments of Tedeschi Trucks Band shows. There's no more Susan being Susan than her playing these classic blues covers where she is on full passion mode, so to speak. And, we know when that right leg goes up that she's really getting into it. I don't know if we saw a right leg go up on any of those songs. Maybe there did. Maybe she did. Maybe I potentially missed that. But those are always stunning performances to see Susan do those classic blues songs and whatnot. What did we get on Friday? We got an I Want More encore with a Les Brer's sort of outro, Allman Brothers nod there, and that was amazing and fun to see, and a rollicking conclusion to that show. We also got a Blue Sky little tease during, I think it was any day on Friday night, and I could be wrong about this, but I think it was a little bit more extended Blue Sky sort of tease and little section that Derek was playing during that solo on any day. Usually it's just like he'll throw like one or two little three Blue Sky riffs, but he kind of leaned into it a little bit more. At least it seemed like that from afar. Maybe that has something to do with being in the South, in Atlanta, in the shadow of Macon, and growing up in the shadow of the Allman Brothers, and of course such a big connection to ABB. So maybe that's why we got a little bit more Blue Sky on any day. But that was just amazing show. Friday night. Afterwards, lucky enough to say hello and get some pictures with various band members. I'm working on getting everyone on the podcast. Pretty much people have agreed. I just got to keep following up. And I don't know if you know this, but this band is fairly busy. But I will keep bothering Susan and Derek and Falcon and others. And I would like to get and talk to Kirk West if he's interested in coming on the podcast. I need to reach out to him. He introed TTB at the shows this weekend, and I'm sure he has a lot to say about the Big House Museum being such a prominent part of reviving that location as an important place for fans and anyone who loves Allman Brothers to experience. But I guess getting into the second show on the 16th, what did we get here? We got Playing With My Emotions. I'm looking at the set list that the band posted, and I'm assuming this is correct, other than the additions or subtractions that I remember and I'm mentioning off the top of my head here. But Playing With My Emotions, first time ever seeing that song performed live. was cool for me. Um, Derek, did his Derek things at the end of that song with a great solo, I recall. And then Made Up Mind always gets the crowd going. The crowd was great. I should also mention that these shows, I haven't really talked about it much, but the crowd was very enthusiastic, lots of standing, lots of dancing. By the second night, some of the songs, people actually did sit a little bit, but it was almost just to rest. People didn't seem to even want to. It was more like, not begrudgingly, but it just people were getting a little tired, and if the band would maybe slow down for, or the moments where the band did slow down for a minute, we did get some people sitting, but for the most part, everyone was up and dancing and getting into it, and just enjoying themselves and very enthusiastic, and the shows have been starting fairly early, so it's been tough to get everyone in their seats for when Gabe starts his part of the show fairly early in the evening. But even I would say more so last night than Friday night. Really, everyone was basically in their seats by Gabe's, or many people, or most people, it seemed to be in their seats by Gabe's second song or something like that. People in their seats for him and Los Lobos, and if not in their seats, out of them for those performances, and especially during TTB. So I give the crowd a lot of credit for being just super enthusiastic and supporting the band and having a good time. Because I've been to a few shows, and I'm sure we all have, and crowds can vary from show to show, and you can have that makes for a slightly different experience from city to city. So I will give Atlanta fans a lot of credit for the enthusiasm, which may not always be as present. We'll see, because my next show, as of now, scheduled is San Diego. And that, I would say, even though the band has had positive feedback, they're not going to bash any city. But I talked to, I forget, maybe it was Mark Rivers or I forget who I spoke to when I went to my last San Diego show afterwards. But they're like, yeah, the crowd is really into it. So I mean, they can feel engagement from the crowd, even if everyone is not necessarily standing and dancing, and it's not the energy of a Beacon show or like a Philly show or something like that. The band still can feel the love from the audience, and not everyone can stand, and people are older, and that's going to be an endless debate in music circles and in TTB circles, the standing versus the sitting thing. But the band definitely feels all the energy from the crowd either way, if the love is there, and the enthusiasm and love for the music is genuinely being expressed in one way or another from the crowd to the band. But Until You Remember was the third song of the second night, and that's always a show-stopping performance. And I was going to say one of my favorite Tedeschi Trucks Band songs, but again, that could be said for anything. But yeah, I'm just thinking about how now, just random thought, thinking about how Bobby Tees was telling me he was there when they were like recording that and hearing it for the first time. That's a special TTB song, certainly. I mean, I put these ballads sort of all in the same archetypal category of Tedeschi Trucks Band song. Until You Remember, Midnight in Harlem, These Walls, and even one or two songs on the new album sort of fit into that ballad-ish category of TTB songs, and they're all very special, as is Walking on Gilded Splinters, which they played next, cover, of course, but Mike and the band is just totally on fire during that, and so much fun to hear that rocking tune played live. Fallen after that, and again, just as great second night as it was the first night. Hearing Fallen and I'm the Moon after that, just tremendous songs, great lyrics as well, unique lyrics in those tracks, and I can't say enough about how I don't want to say the new music has exceeded my expectations, because I don't have any expectations other than for it to be, I guess, amazing and great. But that's with this band. That's not asking too much because it's expected, and they expect, I think, greatness out of themselves too. So, and they deliver, and it is appreciated. Why does love got to be so sad? That's what we got next. Derek and the Dominoes song, of course, that they did not play night one. Derek just destroys it on all these songs, and that's a moment where you hear people saying that that's their favorite part of the night. Hearing "Why Does Love Got to Be So Sad," just such a classic tune and timeless, and I think Derek and the band really enjoy playing that one because we get that a lot. We've been getting that one a lot live, for sure. Here, my dear. Maybe that's my favorite song of all the new ones. I don't know. It's again, it just feels like one of those songs we've been known for such a long time, and I've been listening to for such a long time. It's already like an iconic song. It just sounds very Tedeschi Trucks Band. It's just a signature Tedeschi Trucks Band sound on Here, My Dear. And maybe it's because it might have been the first original from these new songs that they played on Fireside. I know they used it for like the Fireside, uh, series, trailers, and promotions. So just associating with that, it makes me feel like it's sort of a signature sound, part of the Tedeschi Trucks Band signature sound. But after that, we got outside Women Blues, Cream cover, of course, which was rock. And you can see I love when they sort of gesture with their instruments to time all the endings, and the accents, right, on time with each other. And Derek and I don't even know, how do you describe it, sort of gesturing with their guitar. They're all sort of in the same time and accenting the notes and with their actions, so to speak. Sorry for that garbled mess of a description, but I think you guys know what I'm referring to. When they're doing the outro and of the track of the song. After that, we got another Passaquan. Um, epic stuff. I was able to actually listen already. Listen to a little bit of the Friday night show, which was posted by Z-Man on archive.org. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know if I met this person last night or in the past, but thank you for recording these shows and posting them. They're both up on archive.org. I saw last night's show is already up as well, but I did get a chance to listen to Pasquan from night one, and thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to digging into, all the songs from night two as well. La Di Da. After that, I did get David Flam did mention Z-Man's real name in the chat here. I don't know if he's a public figure or not, so I'm not going to put him on blast if he prefers to remain in the shadows. But thank you for sharing that, and I may reach out to that person directly and thank them for all the music that they record and share with the fans. But La Di Da after Passaquan, and again, just the way I describe it is the way Susan describes the song, even as a barroom sort of soulful, sing along, fun, feel good song, and just it was fun to hear that one live. I mean, all these songs, as you guys know, are in my rotation nonstop, and now I'm just glad that I get to. I should download all these before my flight, so they're on my phone to listen to. So I'll have them for later. But yeah, I don't have to necessarily now be beholden to only listening to the studio version, because again, the band is taking these on the road, and we're fortunate to have some of the audio tapers out there. And as you might imagine, some people did have their phones out when recording video last night as well. And I'm sure a decent amount of chunk of people have posted those in the various Facebook groups on social media. So that's watchable. I actually streamed a little bit myself on Instagram last night, a few of the songs throughout the night. When they joined, when Derek and Susan joined Los Lobos, I streamed some of that, and as well as a couple of songs from the set list. I don't have those saved. I don't know if I'm doing that correctly. I guess there's probably a way to save those or download them, but those might be gone. But it was fun to share live, and a few people did thank me for doing that and telling me not to disconnect and keep streaming. So, I thought that would be a nice thing to do for some fans to give them a chance to get a glimpse of what I was witnessing and listening to and seeing performed in front of me. So they got a chance to experience a little bit of the live thing as well. Midnight in Harlem followed La Di Da. Always show stopping. Great intro. Kevy doing his thing. Susan on point, hitting all the right notes, hitting all the correct notes. Literally, figuratively, Derek doing his thing. What else is there to say? I mean, about it. We knew we were going to get a Midnight in Harlem after they didn't play it the first night of the show. I Pity the Fool. That was Susan's signature moment, so to speak. Her signature classic blues, passion, guitar ripping, screaming in a soulful, powerful manner, vocal force performance that we got there on I Pity the Fool is just always special. And you can only imagine. Well, you don't have to imagine. It was we got the audio from it, plenty of video of Susan doing that song from shows over the years out there. After that, we got an Angel from Montgomery and a Sugaree, which all the Deadheads, of course, go crazy for. So they always deliver with that, and the fans love that. Storm followed that, and It's a Storm. No, that was I enjoyed that for sure, and we got a whipping post, little I don't know, I guess tease, but a section, a nod to whipping post during the Storm, and again being in Georgia and in the shadow of Macon, and having the Allman Brothers be such and their history and what they done being such a backdrop to my whole experience this weekend. To hear whipping post and Susan's echoey vocals fill that venue is just goosebumps, tingling, sort of experience for me to hear and experience. Even though I'm repeating myself, but yeah, no, I loved that. And then for the encore, we got I Wish I Knew How to Be Free. And again, just that harmony section and Mike or Mark. Well, Mike doing a lot of lead, of course, with Susan and Mark and Alicia getting their moments as well. Always brings down the house, and just such a uplifting, fun song to hear and see performed live. Makes for a perfect encore, a perfect end to the show and to the weekend, and positive and optimistic slant to it. Makes all that much better of an experience, and you feel that much better walking out. So I thought that was perfect to end the weekend with I Wish I Knew How to Be Free, and I can't complain about anything. It was just fabulous, amazing, special, outstanding weekend all around. Thank you to the band. Thank you to all the bands. Thank you for my dad for joining me and meeting me and here. And I can tell that he had such a great time as well this weekend. And I think we kind of did everything and saw everything and talked to everyone we would want to talk to and got a lot of you know uh, amazing attention from all sorts of interesting fans, band members, and people connected to the band. Again, John Linsky over at the Big House giving us sort of an informal, personal tour in many ways. Like it was great. That guy's knowledge is just insane, and as is everyone at the museum is just so knowledgeable and with amazing, with every detail they're knowledgeable about when it comes to Allman Brothers, and it's all very interesting and it's all very noteworthy. And again, it was hard not to want to study every single artifact and possession that was at that museum, but it's almost impossible to take a picture of everything and study everything. That's why I want to go back and even though it was not it was a big house. It's called the Big House, but I wouldn't call it a mansion, but it wasn't a tiny house either. But despite it being, not a giant museum with endless amounts of stuff, it's enough where I would definitely want to go back because I think it will mean more each time going back as I continue to dive deeper myself into Allman Brothers history and the music and just learn more and more. It's just everything has that much more meaningful context surrounding it for me. So I think I have a feeling I'm going to be back in Georgia at some point, but thank you, Dad. Thank you, Tedeschi Trucks Band, Los Lobos, Gabe Dixon Band, Fox Theater, David Flam, Keith Sharp. I'm missing people, I'm sure. Susan, Derek, Falcon, the rest of the band. Thank you again, everybody. I hope everyone's doing okay out there. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on YouTube. I will be putting out an audio version of this show as well. That might go up maybe later tonight when I get back to my editing station in my on my home computer. Maybe tomorrow night, the latest, I'll get that up. I'll also update all the descriptions within the episodes to make sure I got all the good proper links up there. Maybe I'll even link to the archive.org audio recordings of these shows when I recap them, should they be available. I mean, it's really limitless in terms of how much I could link to and put up and post for anything relevant to the weekend, from pictures to set lists to the archive.org recordings themselves. But please follow the show on Instagram. Please subscribe on YouTube, like the show, share the show. Positive reviews on Apple Podcasts are also definitely appreciated. I'm at Adam Choid on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow me, that's cool. Just a super duper fun weekend. The band is, of course, their website is Tedeschi Trucks Podcast, or TedeschiTrucks.com, rather. I'm losing my mind. I don't know what time zone I'm in, but TedeschiTrucksBand.com is their website. Order tickets to shows, buy merch, order the albums, join the fan club, Swamp Family. I think that's pretty much all I got for today. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate this, all the support. We'll see. Right now, San Diego is the next show I'm going to be at. And then LA, I think, is the following day after that. And then the Beacon shows, of course, in October. But we'll see. Maybe I can squeeze in something else to add to the calendar. But we'll see on that. But thank you again, everybody. I appreciate the support. What a fun time. I think that's all I got. So let's talk soon. Later.